Imagine waking up on what seems like an ordinary summer morning. The streets are already alive. Merchants are opening their shops. Bakers are pulling warm loaves from their ovens. Children are laughing in narrow stone alleyways. Wealthy families stroll through elegant villas decorated with colorful frescoes, while fishermen prepare to leave the harbor. Around you, life feels permanent, safe, predictable. No one realizes that within just a few hours, this thriving Roman city will vanish from the world, almost as if time itself had decided to stop. This is the story of Pompeii, one of history's greatest tragedies, one of archaeology's greatest discoveries, and perhaps the closest humanity has ever come to opening a window into the ancient world. Because Pompeii wasn't simply destroyed, it was preserved, frozen, waiting nearly 2,000 years to tell its story. To understand what happened, we have to travel back to the year 79 AD. Pompeii stood on the coast of southern Italy, near the sparkling Bay of Naples. It wasn't the largest city in the Roman Empire, nor the richest, but it was prosperous, vibrant, and full of life. Its streets were lined with shops selling wine, bread, olive oil, and imported spices from distant lands. Public baths buzzed with conversation. Grand theaters hosted performances. Wealthy Romans escaped the crowded capital to enjoy luxurious villas overlooking the sea. The city was remarkably modern for its time. It had running water, public fountains, restaurants that served hot meals. Graffiti covered the walls, some political, some romantic, and some surprisingly humorous. Messages left by ordinary people nearly 2,000 years ago still make modern visitors smile. Pompeii wasn't just a city, it was a snapshot of everyday life. Towering quietly over everything was Mount Vesuvius. Today we recognize it immediately as one of Europe's most dangerous volcanoes. But to the people of Pompeii, it was simply part of the landscape. Generations had lived beneath it. Its slopes were fertile. Its vineyards produced excellent wine. Most people had no idea they were living beside a sleeping giant. There had been warnings. 17 years earlier, a powerful earthquake had shaken the region. Buildings collapsed. Temples cracked. Homes required years of repairs. Looking back, many scientists believed the earthquake was a sign that Vesuvius was awakening. But earthquakes were common in ancient Italy. Life moved on. No one imagined what was coming. Then came the morning that changed everything. Ancient Roman writer Pliny the Younger, whose eyewitness account remains one of the most valuable historical records of the disaster, described seeing an enormous cloud rising above the mountain. It climbed into the sky like a giant pine tree, its trunk narrow, its top spreading into an immense canopy of ash and smoke. Within hours, the sky began to darken. Ash started falling. At first, it seemed almost harmless. People swept it from rooftops. Some packed belongings. Others chose to stay. After all, where would they go? No one had ever witnessed anything quite like this. As the eruption intensified, ash fell faster and heavier. Roofs began collapsing under its weight. The sun disappeared. Day turned into an eerie twilight, then into complete darkness. Imagine standing in your own neighborhood, unable to see your own hands, the air becoming harder to breathe, every breath filled with hot ash. Families searched desperately for loved ones. Children cried. Animals panicked. People wrapped cloth around their faces, hoping it would protect them. Some fled toward the sea. Others barricaded themselves inside their homes, believing the danger would soon pass. Many never realized they had already run out of time. What came next was far deadlier than falling ash. Superheated clouds of volcanic gas, ash, and rock raced down the slopes of Mount Vesuvius at terrifying speeds. These were pyroclastic flows, Imagine an avalanche made not of snow, but of fire, toxic gas, and pulverized rock. They moved faster than a speeding car. They reached temperatures hot enough to destroy nearly everything in their path. There was no outrunning them. Entire families disappeared within moments. The city that had bustled with life only hours before fell completely silent. When the eruption finally ended, Pompeii had vanished beneath several meters of volcanic ash. Fields disappeared. Roads disappeared. Homes disappeared. An entire civilization was buried. And with time, the world forgot. Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell. Kings ruled. Wars reshaped Europe. The exact location of Pompeii faded into legend. Nature reclaimed the land. Vines grew. Forests spread. People unknowingly walked above an entire buried city. Then, almost 17 centuries later, something extraordinary happened. Workers digging in the 18th century uncovered strange walls beneath the earth. As excavations continued, archaeologists realized they hadn't found isolated ruins. They had discovered an entire Roman city. Street after street emerged from the volcanic ash. Homes still contained furniture. Paintings remained astonishingly colorful. Bread still sat inside ovens. Wine jars remained where merchants had left them. Even political campaign messages were still painted across walls. It felt less like excavating ruins, and more like stepping into a single frozen day in history. Perhaps the most haunting discovery came years later. Archaeologists noticed mysterious hollow spaces inside the hardened ash. Italian archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli had a brilliant idea. He filled these empty cavities with liquid plaster. When the ash was carefully removed, human figures appeared. Not skeletons, people. A mother shielding her child, a man covering his face, a dog still chained to its post, desperately struggling to escape. Each cast captured the final position of someone who had lived, hoped, feared, and loved. These weren't statues. They were silent echoes of real human lives interrupted forever. Modern science continues to reveal new secrets. Laser scanning has reconstructed entire neighborhoods. DNA analysis helps identify family relationships. Chemical studies reveal what people ate. Recent excavations have uncovered beautifully preserved rooms, vibrant frescoes, elegant banquet halls, and even traces of meals left unfinished. Every new discovery reminds us that Pompeii is far from finished telling its story. In many ways, Pompeii has become history's greatest classroom. Unlike most ancient cities that evolved over centuries or were dismantled stone by stone, Pompeii remained sealed, protected, preserved, almost untouched. It allows historians to understand not just how emperors lived, but how ordinary people lived, what they cooked, what they joked about, how they decorated their homes, what frightened them, what made them laugh. Few archaeological sites offer such an intimate portrait of everyday human life. Yet beneath all the science and discovery lies a more universal story. Pompeii reminds us how fragile certainty can be. The people who walked those streets believed tomorrow would arrive just like yesterday. They had plans, businesses, families, dreams. None of them knew that ordinary morning would become their final day. It is a sobering thought. How often do we assume that normal life will continue exactly as it always has? History quietly reminds us that the world can change in an instant. Natural disasters still reshape lives today. Volcanoes still erupt. Earthquakes still strike. Communities still rebuild. The story of Pompeii isn't merely about ancient Rome. It's about humanity itself, about resilience, about memory, about the extraordinary ability of history to survive even when civilizations do not. Today, millions of visitors walk the stone streets of Pompeii every year. They stand inside homes abandoned nearly 2,000 years ago. They gaze at the plaster casts of people caught in history's most tragic pause, and for a brief moment, the distance between the modern world and the ancient one disappears. You no longer see strangers from another age. You see parents, children, neighbors, people who, just like us, believed they had another tomorrow. Perhaps that's why Pompeii continues to captivate the world. It isn't simply a story of destruction. It is a story of remembrance. A city buried beneath ash became one of the greatest gifts ever given to history. It reminds us that while civilizations may fall, their stories do not have to disappear. As long as we continue to uncover them, to learn from them, and to remember them. Because beneath the ashes of Pompeii lies a timeless truth. Life is fragile. Time is unforgiving. But history, if we choose to listen, never truly dies. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please take a moment to like this video, share it with fellow history enthusiasts, and subscribe for more fascinating documentaries exploring the world's greatest civilizations, untold stories, and enduring mysteries. Thank you for watching. Until our next journey through time, stay curious.